And now maybe the most sickening part of all is the FDA approved semaglutide for use of adolescents age 12 or older. Our kids are now on this drug. This says a whole hell of a lot. We care more about profiting off our kids' illnesses than we do about creating a healthy culture. There is absolutely no bigger issue in our world today than obesity. The CDC reports that over 42% of American adults are currently classified as obese, and over 30% are classified as overweight, making over 2/3 of our adult population overweight or obese. And this has never been like this before in all of humanity. Only within the past 100 years have we seen this just skyrocket. And I think the number one question on everybody's minds is, what is causing this? I mean, with a majority of adults wanting that answer, what are we to believe? Because there's so many experts, there's so much advice coming from every different direction. Who do we know who to trust and what to believe? Well, one of these theories about what is causing obesity is this genetic origin theory, that obesity is just genetics. If you are obese, you're just destined, you have bad genes, you were born with a set of bad genes, and you are just destined to be obese for the rest of your life. However, this is what I want to talk about today, is that there are these new class of drugs coming out, and health experts are telling you that you have no control, and they are selling you a solution, and they are profiting off of this. But I want you to know that you have direct control over your health, and the choices that you make can influence whether you burn fat or store it. There's so much within your control. And today I want to talk about the 4 science-backed ways to get to the root cause of obesity and keep fat off long term, as well as break down Ozempic and Wegovy and all these other weight loss drugs. So when you're ready, let's dive into this episode. Now, one of the main proponents of obesity being genetic in origin is Dr. Fatima Cody. She was recently on 60 Minutes saying that obesity is completely genetic, and that if you were born into a family with obesity, you are more likely to be obese yourself. Regardless of anything that you do in your lifestyle, you are just destined to be obese solely because you were born with the genes.
If you diet, you lose weight, right?
The number one cause of obesity is genetics. That means if you are born to parents that have obesity, you have a 50 to 85% likelihood of having the disease yourself, even with optimal diet, exercise, sleep management, stress management. So when people see families that have obesity, the assumption is, what are they feeding those kids?
However, we know that obesity is not solely genetic. You might have the genes for obesity. However, there are so many other epigenetic signaling factors that we're going to talk about later in this video that you have direct control over. Because obesity hasn't been a thing up until maybe the past 100 years. And our genes haven't changed all that much in the past 100 years. They've been the same for thousands upon thousands of years. But what has drastically changed in the past 100 years? This is our environment. And what you do in your environment is going to drastically influence the way that your genes behave. You can turn on or turn off certain genes based off of the food that you eat, the exercises you do or don't do, the sleep you get or don't get. All these things, every breath that you take is going to determine what genes you turn on and turn off. Now, the scary part is with Dr. Fatima Cody is that she was just appointed to the 2025 USDA Dietary Guidelines Committee. And this is basically the committee that is going to help us decide the next food recommendations for America. You've heard of the food pyramid in the 1990s. You've heard of My Plate coming out in 2010. Now, we keep putting these out every 5 years, 2015, 2020. The 2020 to 2025 ones are the ones we are currently using. And she is on the panel of experts that is going to help decide what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat for 2025 to 2030. Now, this is the same committee that was found in 2020 to have 95% conflict of interest with big food and big pharma. 95% of the experts that were on that committee in 2020, just 3 years ago, were found to have ties to big food and big pharma. Is she an exception? Is she part of that 5%? No, you better believe she's not. She receives funding from weight loss drug manufacturers. She goes on 60 Minutes to tell you that obesity is genetic, that you don't have control no matter what you do in your lifestyle. No matter what you do, if you were just born with a bad set of genes, you don't have control. But yet then she sells you the solution. She sells you the drug. You don't have any control. But here, this is the solution. You don't have the answer. I have the answer for you. And then she profits off of you taking that pill or that injection. Now, has Big Pharma really found their new wonder drug? There's a new class of drugs called GLP-1 antagonist, or glucagon-like peptide 1 antagonist. The most common one on the market right now is called semaglutide, and they come under brand names such as Ozempic or Wegovy.
I've always had trouble with my weight.
Now with Wegovy, I've seen real change. I've lost weight, and I'm keeping it off.
Wegovy helped reduce my appetite.
Wegovy is the #1 prescribed once-weekly weight management medicine for adults with obesity or excess weight with related medical conditions.
People taking Wegovy lost an average of 35 pounds. Some lost over 46 pounds.
Wegovy shouldn't be used with other semaglutide-containing or GLP-1 receptor agonist medicines. Don't take Wegovy if you have a personal or family history of medullary thyroid cancer, multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2, or if you are allergic to Wegovy. Stop taking Wegovy and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, itching, rash, trouble breathing, or swelling of your face or throat. Serious side effects may happen, including pancreatitis. Gallbladder problems may occur. Wegovy may cause low blood sugar in people with type 2 diabetes, especially if you take medicines to treat type 2 diabetes. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes, or if you feel your heart racing while at rest. Depression or thoughts of suicide may occur. Call your provider right away if you have any mental changes. Common side effects are nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, constipation, stomach pain, headache, tiredness, upset stomach, dizziness, feeling bloated, belching, gas, stomach flu, and heartburn. Some side effects can lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
Wegovy helped us lose weight and keep it off.
Check your cost and coverage before talking to your healthcare provider about Wegovy.
Now for Ozempic, this was approved in 2017 for the treatment of type 2 diabetes, while a higher dose of semaglutide was approved in 2021 for weight loss under the name Wegovy. Both of these drugs contain the active compound semaglutide and require weekly injections. These are, if you've heard of metformin, you might be on metformin. These are a cousin, per se, a cousin of metformin. And semaglutide works at the level of the pancreas and modulates insulin secretion and glucose. So people that take this, they might feel fuller, they might not get as hungry, they might not be able to eat as much because it's working at the level of the pancreas to really shut off insulin production. There's actually a lot of short-term data showing that these weekly injections do really work dramatically at helping weight loss. I mean, so much so that Weight Watchers just purchased a company for over $100 million just so they can prescribe Ozempic to their members. Now I ask the question, are these weight loss drugs the miracle injections, the miracle pills, the miracle drugs that we want them to be? We've never had a miracle drug ever invented. Now these drugs, while they may help many individuals in the short term, they don't fix the underlying metabolic dysfunction that is going to give an individual health. These should not be used as a replacement to live a healthy lifestyle. And here's the most important part. The goal is not to be on a medication for life. However, that's exactly what these drugs are designed to do. These are weekly injections that cost over $1,200 out of pocket cost. And you need to stay on these for life because as we're about to talk about, if you come off these drugs, if you come off of semaglutide, Ozempic, or Wegovy, your weight is just going to rebound right back. This is the perfect drug for Big Pharma. We have a society that is craving answers, that is desperate for answers. Over 2/3 of our society is classified as either overweight or obese, and many of these individuals are desperate for answers. Our society has failed us in telling us how to actually lose this weight and get to the root cause of our weight gain. But we have health experts like Dr. Fatima Cody going on 60 Minutes saying that obesity is genetic in origin. You don't have any control. If you were born to a family that is obese, then you were just destined to be obese yourself Don't even bother trying to live a healthy lifestyle. You have no control. But here's a drug. I have the answer for you. I have the answer, and it's in this weekly injection. You take this every single week, you will lose weight. You might have some side effects, but you will lose the weight and keep it off, at least in the short term. But if you come off this drug, you're going to put that weight right back on because you just have a bad set of genes. This is what the experts want us to believe. And this is the perfect drug for Big Pharma because it requires you to stay on the drug for life. It's over $1,200 out of pocket cost every single month, and you have to stay on this drug for life. Now, if you come off this drug, how bad is the weight rebound effect? How much are you going to put back on if you choose to come off this drug? According to a recent study published in the Journal of Pharmacology and Therapeutics titled Weight Regain and Cardiometabolic Effects After Withdrawal of Semaglutide, the Step 1 Trial Extension. This was a randomized placebo-controlled trial. Once you stop taking the injections, your weight will go right back up to where it was before. Now, this study had close to 2,000 obese adults who weren't diabetic. They were split up into two groups, and for 68 weeks, one group was given these once weekly injections of 2.4 milligrams of semaglutide. The other group was given a placebo. And here's what they found. The mean weight loss group of the semaglutide group, they lost 17.3% body fat reduction. The placebo group only lost 2.0%. That's a significant weight loss drop. However, after the 68 weeks was over, none of them were given any more injections. Placebo wasn't given any placebo injections, and the intervention group wasn't given any injections as well. By week 120, exactly a year later, everybody had gained nearly all the weight back, and cardiometabolic variables returned back to the baseline they had been when the study started. The authors concluded this study by saying, findings confirm the chronicity of obesity and suggest ongoing treatment is required to maintain improvements in weight and health. Now the question is, like we already addressed, why did this occur? Why did they gain all that weight back? Because they never addressed the underlying metabolic root cause of why they had obesity in the first place. It wasn't because their genetics caused them to gain the weight back. I would bet dimes to dollars. I've never said that before, but I would bet dimes to dollars. It's because they never fixed their metabolic dysfunction, and they went right back to living the type of lifestyle that the drug didn't treat in the first place. Probably eating ultra-processed foods, not sleeping well, chronically stressed, not exercising the best, or maybe over-exercising. All these factors go into causing weight gain or weight loss. But Big Pharma doesn't want you to know that. They want you to believe that obesity is genetic because this is how they make their money. If they just put you on a drug and you lost weight and you didn't have to go on that drug anymore and you just took it for a month, how would they make any money? They are a business too. Now, is there some good in these? Absolutely. There's some good in these medications. They help a lot of people that are seeking answers. But in addition, if you are on this medication, if you are undergoing this treatment, remember, like I said before, this is not a replacement to live a healthy lifestyle. If you are taking these, also know that you absolutely 100% must eat a whole foods diet. You have to move, not just for the sake of burning body fat, but so you can gain life and gain health. There's so many benefits to eating a whole foods diet, so many benefits to exercising regularly. There's so many benefits to sleeping properly and stressing appropriately and otherwise living a healthy lifestyle. But Big Pharma doesn't want you to know that. They want you to be on this drug forever. And if you go off this drug and you're going to gain that weight right back, they want you to come back and take their product. They're a business just like anyone else. Now, this rebound effect, this weight rebound effect, might not just be the only side effect of coming off these medications. TikTok celebrity Remy Bader, she was prescribed Ozempic for being pre-diabetic, and she noticed when she started taking this, she noticed a reduction in her appetite and weight loss like the drug was designed to do following these weekly routine injections. However, she decided that she didn't want to be on weekly lifelong injections, so she decided to stop the treatment, and her weight came back, but it doubled. It doubled even more than when it was at baseline before. And she also noted that her energy got worse and she wasn't hungry. So my theory here is we need more science on this, but this did something to her metabolism that we don't know the long-term consequences of these medications. These haven't been tested for decades. We know the short-term effects, but how is this going to impact our metabolism decades down the road? The goal is not to be on a drug long-term. The goal is to live a healthy lifestyle so that way we don't need to be on medications. Why is America the sickest nation in history? It's our environment. It's a blessed environment to be in. We have a lot of luxuries, but we've traded these hardships for conveniences, and these conveniences are killing us. Everything that makes life easier for us is in some way, shape, or form adding to the chronic disease that we're facing. We've outsourced our movements to machines, to cars. We've outsourced our work to sitting at desk jobs. We've outsourced our hunting and gathering of food to DoorDash and Uber Eats. We no longer have to work for our food in the same way that our biology expects. We just press a button on a phone and we have the food delivered. Everything that makes life easier for us is slowly killing us, and we can't even realize it. Or if we do realize it, we don't want to change. And now maybe the most sickening part of all is the FDA approved semaglutide for use of adolescents age 12 or older. Our kids are now on this drug. This says a whole hell of a lot. We care more about profiting off our kids' illnesses than we do about creating a healthy culture. We don't know the long-term side effects that this drug is going to have on kids. They are still growing, their metabolism is still changing, and we are pumping them full of drugs to keep the weight off. Now, is there benefits and pros of having non-obese and non-overweight children? Absolutely. But that doesn't mean they are gaining health if they are eating ultra-processed foods, which over 60% of our kids under the age of 20, over 60% of their diet comes from ultra-processed foods. Foods that have literally seen more of the inside of a factory than they have nature. And we have reports that 88% of our population is metabolically unhealthy. Even worse, ultra-processed food consumption kills 11 million people every single year. Now, we just had a major pandemic where a couple million people died within the span of a couple years. And we saw how much that infectious disease garnered the widespread attention of the entire world. Yet, ultra-processed food kills over 11 million people every single year, decade after decade. What are we doing about it? We're doing absolutely nothing. And we think it's okay to pump our kids full of medications and not change the quality of food they are eating or change the lifestyle they are living. A drug cannot replace healthy food choices. A drug cannot replace exercise habits. A drug cannot replace getting high quality sleep. These are things our biology expects. Of course, taking these drugs may help in the short term, but like I just talked about, if you come off these medications, you're going to gain that weight right back because you never fixed the underlying metabolic dysfunction. If our kids are taking these weekly injections for 6, 7, 8 years, how much money has Big Pharma profited off of that? Over $1,200 of monthly out-of-pocket cost. And if you change health insurance, if these kids come off their parents' health insurance plan and they don't have health insurance, they need to pay out of pocket for this even more. They might not be able to afford this. And then they're not able to afford these weekly injections. Then what? They go right back to gaining that weight right back. We need to teach our population healthy lifestyle habits. And the goal should be to get them off these drugs, not to keep them on them. And what's more, there's already been massive side effects reported in taking these class of drugs, Ozempic and Wegovy. In the New England Journal of Medicine, this is the largest clinical trial that put semaglutide on the map. This showed the incidence of gastrointestinal adverse events was greater in the semaglutide group than with the placebo group. The semaglutide group had 62% adverse GI issues, whereas the placebo group had 42%. The semaglutide group lost weight like they were supposed to. This drug worked for them, but at what cost? At what cost? Then another study published in the journal Nature Medicine titled 2-Year Effects of Semaglutide in Adults with Overweight or Obesity, the Step 5 trial, researchers found that gastrointestinal adverse events were reported more often with semaglutide than with placebo, 82.2% versus 53.9% respectively. Every study that has been done on semaglutide, they have found these GI adverse events more in the drug intervention group than in the control group. This is the issue with saying, everybody take this drug. We are not all the same individuals. We are not all on the same medications. Many individuals are on multiple medications, and we don't know what's going to happen, the long-term consequences. So this isn't to say that you shouldn't be taking this drug. I believe that this drug could be beneficial in individuals who seriously need it. However, this is just to get you thinking, do I have control over my health? Do I have control over the symptoms I am experiencing? Do I have control over my genes? And the answer is yes, you do. You are not a product of your genes. You are not a product of your environment. You are a creator of your environment. You might have been born into this environment that has exposed your genes, but you don't need to be a victim of them, because we have a lot of science now showing the efficacy of epigenetics. This is what lies above our epigenetic control. Just like we have the dermis of our skin, we have the epidermis of our skin. This is the layer that lies above the dermis. The same thing with our genes. You might have the genes for obesity, Hashimoto's, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, you name it. But if you never put yourself in the environment that is going to turn on or turn off those genes, then you never have to experience the disease. Too many people have come to accept that genes are king, genes are destiny, and that they have no control because of experts like Dr. Fatima Cody saying that no matter what you do, no matter what type of lifestyle you live, you are just destined. But I have the solution for you. Hey guys, I wanted to take a quick break and tell you about something I have been absolutely obsessed with probably for about a couple years now. This is a food that is one that I am going to keep in my diet for a long time because of the immense amount of health benefits that it contains. This is a food that we have consumed as humans for millennia, and modern day is finally catching up with the ancestral wisdom because the science on this particular food is mind-blowing. It is just outrageous, the science that is coming out with this food. I consume this every day. Bethany consumes this every day. Our dog Coda consumes this every day. And this incredible superfood that I'm talking about is honey. Now, honey is completely different than simple processed and added sugars that we might think about in Western culture, because I think we like to put things in boxes. You know, if it's a sugar, all sugar's the same. However, honey is different. This is built different, and here's a study to prove it. This is a 2017 study titled Honey and Health, a review of recent clinical research, and the authors concluded this review by saying, the ingredients of honey have been reported to exert antioxidant, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, anti-proliferative, anti-cancer, and anti-metastatic effects. This is just a massive review that studied dozens of studies of honey throughout the years that found that honey is truly a magical superfood and one that we have consumed for a very, very long time. And there was another study published in the International Journal of Biological Sciences titled Honey, a Novel Anti-Diabetic Agent, that found that honey is truly a unique substance that helps individuals that have diabetes. And you're probably thinking, how can honey help diabetes? It's a sugar, it's gonna spike my blood sugar. Listen, honey is built different. This is a superfood that has been used for thousands upon thousands of years, and it's still used by hunter-gatherer tribes today. But here's the thing, not all honey is created equal. You can go to the supermarket and buy the little bear off the shelf, but odds are that's probably not even real honey, because believe it or not, up to 75% of all honey sold in the supermarket has been adulterated. In 2014, an investigation in the United Kingdom found that only 1 in 7 honeys found in the supermarket was actually pure and authentic. So that's why I'm a fan of ensuring that I get a high quality honey in my diet from one company and one company only, and that is Beekeepers Naturals. I've been consuming this superfood honey for 3 years now, and it has been absolutely game changing for me and my diet. I love to mix it in smoothies, put it in some hot chocolate at night. I love to drizzle it on my yogurt bowls. Now, the reason I love this superfood honey so much is because that it's not just honey. This contains royal jelly, raw bee pollen, and bee propolis extract. These are all incredibly beneficial for our immune system, and each come with a host of benefits unique to those ingredients. And Beekeepers Naturals is really doing things the complete right way. They've had all their products third-party tested to be free of glyphosate, GMOs, preservatives, added fillers, and simple refined sugars. So if you want to grab yourself some of this superfood honey or any other product that Beekeepers Naturals carries, just click that link below and use code Craig15 to get 15% off your entire order. Like I said, I use this product every single day. I use the propolis throat spray when I'm feeling a little off or when I have to travel. These are just nice things to have on hand, and I truly can trust this company wholeheartedly. Now let's get back to the episode. And now I want to get to your 4 science-backed ways to get to the root cause of obesity. You know that you have control over your symptoms. You have control over your health. And there are 4 things that you can do today that can help you to burn more fat, build more muscle, eliminate or suppress chronic disease, and get healthier. Number 1, this is eat nutrient-dense foods. Of course, diet plays a massive role in this. But like I mentioned before, our culture is confused about what and what isn't a healthy food. Our culture is drastically confused because we have access to information like never before. We see one headline that says one thing and another headline that opposes it. How do you know what to believe? This is why I like to keep nutrition simple. And I like to approach nutrition with science as well as a common sense approach. We haven't always had obesity. We haven't always had chronic disease. And when you look at the data, this has only skyrocketed within the past 100 years. And when you look at what has changed in the past 100 years in our culture, it's the rise of seed oils, vegetable oils. It's the rise of added sugars, refined grains, smoking, sedentary culture, and chronic stress. And all these things contribute to chronic disease and obesity. If there's just one simple tip that I can give you to eat more nutrient-dense foods, it would be this. Avoid these 3 ingredients when you go grocery shopping: added sugars, seed oils, and refined grains. If you can avoid those 3 ultra-processed foods, you've just eliminated over 90 to 95% of all foods in the grocery store. And consequently, almost, ironically, you're left to consume foods that humans have always consumed. It's as simple as that. And I think we are so far removed, we've been born into this culture, that we've forgotten what it means to eat an actual human diet. Because if we want to actually put our genes in the environment that it expects to turn on healthy genes and good health, we need to place our genes in the environment it expects to produce good health. And that means eating the foods that your biology knows what to do with. This is whole foods. And when you remove yourself and just kind of look at your environment from a fly on the wall perspective, what do you have locally in your environment? If you can have a dietary approach like that, you've just really figured out how to eat like a human. And so what does that look like for most people? That means eating predominantly most of your nutrients from animal products, red meat, eggs, raw dairy, honey is an animal product, and then eating the least toxic parts of plants, predominantly fruit. If you can follow something similar to that, or whatever works for you, and this is what I've seen work in many, many individuals on my website and working with clients over the years, eating this way of nutrition has helped so many people. Now, the second tip of your 4 science-backed ways to get to the root cause of obesity, this is to build muscle. Resistance training, HIIT training, building muscle is the ultimate fat-burning machinery. Having a lot of muscle on your frame is going to help you to burn fat and keep it off long-term. Because insulin resistance is basically a symptom of not having enough muscle mass on our frame. When you can put on muscle, you burn more calories just at rest, just by having muscle on your frame. Long chronic cardio is not the best way to burn fat. This can put us in a more fight or flight sympathetic state and cause a lot of stress inside of our bodies, and it's not going to help us to build muscle. But if you can do resistance training, like lifting weights just a few times per week, it doesn't got to be a lot. If you can do that along with a little bit of HIIT training a few times a week, 20 minutes a day, it doesn't have to be a lot. This is going to help you to build muscle and burn fat even post-workout. So this is tip number 2, to move your body intensely. So you can remember this. Tip number 1 is to eat densely, eat for nutrient density. And then tip number 2 would be to move intensely. Eat densely, move intensely. Now, tip number 3 of your 4 science-backed ways to get to the root cause of obesity, this is to sleep like it's your job. Now, sleep might be the most overlooked component of fat burn. This is where you actually burn fat, not during the day while you are sleeping. Sleep is that crucial factor everybody needs. And you could be sleeping 8 hours, but getting the quality of sleep of somebody that's sleeping 6 hours. Now, the quality of your sleep is drastically important, but there's a study that I want to show you that shows that sleep is where the magic happens. There was a recent study where we had 2 groups of individuals. They ate the same exact foods, same calories, same everything, except one group got an adequate amount of sleep, 8 hours of sleep per night, and the other group was sleep deprived at 4 hours of sleep per night. And the shocking results, the group that was sleep deprived put on body fat, whereas the group that was not sleep deprived, they lost body fat. And the only variable that changed was one group was sleep deprived. Sleep is where the magic happens. So if you are doing everything in your life right, you think you're eating the right diet, you're exercising, maybe it's your sleep. Your sleep could be the missing component to why you're not burning body fat. So remember that. Eat densely, move intensely, sleep like it's your job. Now, the 4th out of 4 science-backed ways to get to the root cause of obesity, this is maybe honestly the most overlooked component other than sleep. This is chronic stress. Chronic, unrelenting, debilitating stress. Now, cortisol is not the bad guy. We need cortisol to be elevated, particularly in the morning, but it's supposed to go down towards the afternoon and the evening. And then as cortisol goes down, melatonin is supposed to rise to help us to get good sleep. But most people are getting that cell phone bill. Most people are getting, their kids are getting into an argument. They're getting into a fight with their spouse. Things are happening. Work stress, life stress, relationship stress. Things are happening that's spiking our cortisol up and down throughout the day. And we're working inside under artificial lighting. All these things are leading to a lot of chronic stress. And this can be a major reason for weight loss plateaus. I have many other videos talking about how to manage your stress effectively, how to minimize it, how to eliminate it. So check out some of those earlier videos that I have. But if there's one thing that I want to leave you with today, it's that you have control over your health. Even if you are on these medications and it does help you to lose weight, just remember that it is not a replacement to live an otherwise healthy lifestyle. And if you choose to come off these medications, if it's appropriate for you in months to years, I'm hoping you change your metabolism through these 4 science-backed ways here. I have other videos on how to change your metabolism and get to the root cause of your metabolism and how to build a healthy metabolism so you can take control of your health. But this is what I wanted to leave you with today. I hope you enjoyed. Please share this out with somebody that you know needs it most. And if you found this valuable, let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm at Craig_McCloskey. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Facebook. You can find me pretty much anywhere. Be sure to check out my website, CraigMcCloskey.com. I have a lot of other videos and articles on there. Check those out. But other than that, I appreciate you tuning in today, and I'll see you next time. I want you to think about what you can do that's going to produce good hormones, that's going to help you to build a more efficient metabolism. I don't want you to think about eating less and just moving more. That might work in the short term, but as this study shows, it's just going to cause a bigger rebound effect because we never addressed the underlying metabolic dysfunction that went into what was causing the issues in the first place, okay? And this study shows just that. And this is a study of the Biggest Loser contestants